Did you know that I traveled back from the future to do this video?
I didn't know that, but maybe I will someday.
Someday, no, you won't. I know what happens to you later today.
Oh.
Top town.
But you can't tell me because I can't know too much about my future?
No, I just don't want to tell you.
Oh.
So today, we're talking about time travel in movies and our favorite. I'm gonna say 3. You're gonna say 3.
Yeah.
Basically,
3 favorite depictions of time travel in movies.
Yeah.
There are. Go ahead. Sorry.
You had things to say? Some intro type stuff?
Well, I was just gonna say that we're talking about this because time travel is a pretty popular trope in movies.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad. It's narrative fun, is what it is.
It is. But I think, and I think I heard this in a class somewhere in Madison.
Yeah, we took a lot of film theory classes. We're movie nerds, sort of.
And the reason is, I think the professor was trying to discourage us from making movies with time travel because it is, he was sort of saying it was overused. But I think the reason that time travel is so prevalent in movies is that I think the mechanics of movies, the medium movies, it makes it easy to make time travel. And in a way, like, movies are kind of a form of time travel because you're recording time, and then you're sort of mixing it up. You're editing. You get to edit the movie into.
You can jump in and out of time easily.
You're manipulating time. So I think that's why time travel is so popular because I think filmmakers really get it. They can see like how time travel is working because that's what they do.
But every time you introduce time travel into a movie, you are introducing so many flaws.
Yeah.
Because there are so many different possible ways it could work, and so many things that don't make sense. For instance, Back to the Future. When Marty McFly goes to the future, for instance.
Yeah.
And
Back to the Future Part 2.
Back to the Future Part 2. Duh. He runs into... he goes through that little adventure of his, hiding from himself and such things. Wouldn't his future self know? Wouldn't his future self, who was there, know that he was there at the same time?
That's a good question.
It seems like his future self has no memory of traveling through time.
Well, yeah, I've read about this, and I think the theory goes is that how time travel works in the Back to the Future universe is that the changes aren't instantaneous. That's why, like, in the first one, like, he didn't just, like, wink out of existence right away. It was, like, he was sort of fading away. It's because there's sort of, like, a ripple effect. The effects of whatever are rippling through time, but they're not happening right away.
But is that consistent with every aspect of the time travel in Back to the Future?
I think it's pretty consistent. I don't know. It's pretty vague.
It's not. They don't really explain it. It's more about the fun of it. Don't get me wrong. I love the Back to the Future movies.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that's not going to be a part of your
top 3. No,
top 3
because I do think it is filled with flaws. Even though I love the movies, not in my top 3.
Yeah. Well, should we get on to the top 3?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
And not that my top ones are flawless either, but I like their own unique take on time travel.
Okay. What's your first one?
Okay, they're in no order. First one, and we should probably not talk too long about these because we only have 10 to 12-ish minutes.
Yeah.
And right now we only have like 8 left.
Yeah.
So, yikes. And I'm already wasting time and still doing it. Wow. Maybe if we
have to play a song too after this. So
I know. My goodness. I wish we had a time machine so I could go back and do this again, which I do because I came from the future. Anyway, Looper. Yes, I really like how they handled time travel in Looper.
Yeah. That's on my list too.
I figured. They address. I think it's similar to Back to the Future, but they address it in Looper, which is. It's sort of a gray area. Like they call it a gray area. So like the future is kind of vague, and the changes are sort of there is a ripple effect in the changes, and there's like it's sort of written around so that they can have paradoxes and flaws in it.
Yeah, I think the time travel, the way it works in Looper, isn't really based on science. It's based on previous movie time travel. It's in that way it's more of like making an homage to other time travel movies like The Terminator and like how the time travel worked in that And it's not so much about like time travel being an actual scientific thing as it is like an actual trope within movies.
I see what you're saying. I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't remember exactly how they explain the time travel. But
they don't really, and it's in a way it's.
But
I think they're depending on the audience to be familiar with time travel in other movies, and that this movie works like that. You know,
but they do say that his like Bruce Willis's memories are kind of he says gray area, or he uses some sort of, he says it's sort of fading in and out.
Yeah.
So like it is addressed that the changes are slowly occurring in his mind, but I do like that they don't. They keep the flaws dampened a little bit in that movie somehow, and you still enjoy it, and you're not left questioning. But but that means, but what, you know?
I think in a lot of ways, like whatever flaws the time travel in that movie has doesn't matter, because the narrative overshadows any of it, because it doesn't matter how the time travel works.
Yes,
it's just that it is working.
Yeah. Let's move on. What's your next one?
My next one is Primer.
That's mine. Yeah. We didn't know each other's.
Primer. I really like it because it for sort of the opposite reason is that it does seem like a really scientific way, a real way that time travel could work. And it's really messed up. It's really confusing what happens in the story, which I would imagine, like if you could time travel, there would be this confusion.
Here's my thoughts on Primer. I love the way they handle the time travel element of it. I didn't like the movie because it was intentionally. And there has been another edit.
It was a rupture in the space-time continuum.
I was going to do something like that too, but you did it. All right. I was going to say we jumped into the future. I think it probably was a rupture in the space-time continuum. Whenever that happens, when the camera turns off and there's an edit, we should have a punishment. What should it be? Tell us in the comments. Something very quick, though, so that we don't disrupt conversation any further or much further. Here's what I think about Primer. I love the way they handled the time travel in that movie. It seems very realistic. They go in a box, and however long you're in that box, like you can go back to when the box is turned on. Yeah. And what I didn't like about the movie was it was confusing. And I wouldn't recommend the movie. I didn't really like the movie as a whole. I mean, a lot of people do like the movie, but it must just be sci-fi nerds like you and I, you know? The
depiction of time travel seems really plausible.
It does seem plausible. That's what's good about it. But there's like, I remember after I watched the movie, not knowing what was going on, I went to Wikipedia and I read this big list of all the things that happened, and there's no possible way any human being could understand that just by watching the movie. And to me, that's a flaw in the movie. But the time travel itself was
pretty cool
and interesting, and it seemed like it could be real. It's a possibility.
Yeah, it seems like that's how time travel actually would work in the real world. And the problems associated with it are really well I think depicted, even though it's really confusing and you can't understand what's happening. That's probably what it would be like if there was time travel. You wouldn't know what was happening.
That's what I like. Here's my third one. I'm doubtful that this is your third one.
Okay, we'll see.
Or most people wouldn't even consider this a time travel movie.
Okay.
But Midnight in Paris. Woody Allen.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I love how that time travel's handled, because it's not really handled. It's just like it's happening, and there's really no explanation for it. But that's also, I mean, the whole point of the movie to me is like nostalgia and thinking the past is better than it is. And
it's probably like time travel of the mind. You know?
Yeah, but it is actually. I mean, there are things that happen in it that make it seem like it is actually happening. Like he's actually going back in the past. There's a whole scene with another character who wakes up in medieval times.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and it sort of implies that maybe it's actually happening. But I like that. I like that it's sort of just there, and I'm probably spoiling the movie for a lot of you because most people don't even know that happens in the movie. I don't want to spoil it any further. It's really good. That movie's great, and the way the time travel handled is great.
Good movie.
What's your third?
My third one is The Time Machine, the original one, not the one with Guy Pearce.
Okay.
Mainly because I really liked how the time travel was depicted in it, where there's just a lot of the movie is of him in the time machine, like watching stuff outside out of the window. Like he's watching like the sun just like fly by, and like he's watching like whatever rain flowers grow, and like the fashion changing on the mannequins. And it's interesting because it's time travel that's taking place in the past. Yeah, like he's traveling to our future in a way, or at least the present,
our present
to the.
Well, he's traveling much further.
He travels further, but he's traveling he's traveling toward the present when the movie was made, and then he goes farther into the future. And I like that he goes so far in the future. The entire world has changed, and like the geology and like there's like just all this stuff that changes.
I like visually how that was represented, though. I question like wouldn't he have been like hit by a boulder falling or like a building collapsing at some point, because his time machine is just right there the entire time?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it seems like there was like a protective bubble that it was in, kind of. That's
true.
That things.
I mean,
go. I don't know.
Yeah, and I also, after he goes to the future, the movie gets pretty silly, I think. Once he's in the future, but the whole traveling to the future is really cool.
Yeah,
it is really cool.
I like the look of the time travel, and it's all simple stuff. It's just time lapse and things like that. But it's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you know what else is cool? Playing songs and making them up on the spot. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not cool, but we do it anyway because we're idiots.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 1, 0. I just went forward and then I went backward in time. Time travel. Time to travel to the future. Future of time. Past. That was our best one. Woo! That is all for now. And a reminder, we have a podcast. Audio. You can listen to this exact thing, audio style, if you hate our faces. I'm going to go back to the future now, Matt.
Yeah, and we're always accepting suggestions for topics. So put it in the comments or somewhere where we can find it. Craig, where'd you go?
I'm in the future.
You're in the future?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I'll see you there someday, depending on how far in the future you are.
I'm right over here.
Oh.
In the future.
Oh, okay.
It's great over here.
It does look pretty good.
Yep.
Well, maybe I'll come check it out.
No, get out of here. Future's great.
Oh, this is great. The future is awesome.
I'm going back to the past.
Craig!
Wait, Matt, your elbow's still in the past.